Hi, I thought I'd just film. Sorry about this. I thought I'd just film a bit of a video of as I'm getting back into this. I've been away from this for about a week, so I thought I'd slowly get back into this turn. It's actually in the middle of a turn. It's in the middle of the sixth turn, and I thought I'd film a bit so you can get an idea of how the game plays. Now we start with the combat segment, which starts with an initiative roll and then the indirect fire phase. So I've done that. That was when this bunker got rubbled. Then we go to the direct fire phase. Then that's the end of the combat segment. Then we go to the movement segment. An initiative roll, movements. Then we go to the close assault segment. Initiative roll, infiltration, melee. And then we go to the end of turn segment, which is kind of like administration. So there's combat, which is indirect and direct fire, then movement, and then close assault. Now, normally this game moves in impulses, so you roll for initiative and someone does one impulse, moves one stack, or maybe a platoon. You can sometimes move units as platoons. And then you go to the other side. But I've taken an optional rule, which is that you roll one of the d10s. Everything functions on d10s this game. You halve it, rounding fractions up. So you can take that many impulses and then you go to the other side. So that makes it a much better game already for me. I didn't have that in the basic Streets of Stalingrad game. Obviously I could have house ruled it, but I wasn't sure I wanted to play the game as it comes. So then what that means is that then, I could get several fires, several moves, 2 or 3 off a side, and then before I move over to the other side, which doesn't make it such a drag as a solo player. And then the other thing I've done, which is an optional rule, is that you can intermingle movement and fire. Direct fire. Anyway, so indirect fire. So if you have onboard like mortars and also offboard artillery, you can all that indirect fire occurs first. So I've done that this turn. I started my intermingling movement and fire phases. Again, makes it a much better game for me instead of just, you have to sort of plan all your fire carefully. You might want to save some guys from firing for opportunity fire. Then all the movements happen. No, make it much more fluid and intermingle them. But anyway, so it's the Germans to go. So it's their impulse, and I roll a 5, so that's 3. They can get 3 impulses in of move and or fire. Now, so I'm going to have to think aloud here. I only just looked at the board again. I was trying to get better lighting for the viewing, but so what have we got? So you have rate of fire. So there's an MG42 here, which has fired once. It's got rate of fire 3, so that can fire twice and more. This one can fire 3 times. There's the Stug here, that really needs to fire. So before the M4 fires at it. This pack over here, I don't know if you can see that on the video, that's fired twice already. So that's gone. Okay, so there's only been a little bit of fire or movement so far. And this Stug here has moved up. I popped him into defilade. I think he can be in defilade there. At least, yeah, he can be against units from here, but I don't know about from this side. I think not. But anyway, so this Stug's going to fire. So what we do for you don't roll straight on the casualty table, but you have to fire to hit. So you go to the hit probability table. It's a 75B weapon at 1, 2, 3, 4 hex range. So B weapon at range 4 is a 9 to hit. Then the modifiers are that this is a large target, so that's going to hit. Now that's a modifier to the dice roll. Hang on, I'll just put a fire marker down there. So what I generally do is that's 7. Oh, that's close, so I better check all the modifiers. It's not a definite hit. It's not a moving vehicle target. There's no cover in between us. So basically that's a straight hit. That was going to be a cert at that range, of that size target. Now, the rate of fire of the Stugs is only 1 for their main armament. So then next what we do is we roll for the hit location. 2. Now, often I use the SL convention, which is where you'll fire a bunch of dice together and you have them graded in colour. So the first is the 2 hit number, the second would be the hit location, third might be like for any morale check that would happen, fourth might be like for, the next thing that you would check in that sequence. So you don't have to stop and roll 4 dice, you can just roll them all at once. You might not need 3 of them, but if you do, they're there. So anyway, so for the hit location, because I'm firing at the side of this vehicle, it's turreted vehicle, and I rolled a 2, so that's a turret hit, which is a bad thing because the turret's the most armoured part on the M4. So from the on the front it's got 11 points, but on the side only 5. So that's actually great. So the Stug, you have a handy little vehicle information card. Sorry, I won't move the camera to show that because that'll make a mess. But yeah, so you can either check up on a chart or you've got the vehicle information card with it nicely done in ATS all ready for you here. 75B, it could be APCR, but I don't think I'm going to roll for that. I probably should, but then I have to look up the rule. Versus at range of 4, so that's 13 versus 5. Then I need to check for if it's going to be a fire kill. So I might have knocked out the gun. 8. No, so I need a 4 or less for that to happen. So I go to the K kill table. I rolled a 10. No, that's counted as a 0, I think. Yes, that's counted as 0 in this system, which is going to be a definite burn because I have, what did I say, 13 versus 5 is what, plus 8. 8 differential, so yeah, that's a goner. Now, there was a possibility that there could have been a gun duel. Let me just check those rules. Because that could be important. Gun duel, gun duel. Okay, you can only have a gun duel if the unit being fired on has a bot to burst on target marker. So essentially if he's already fired, I think that's the only time you get that, the other unit. So no, there's no gun duel there. So he's off the board, so that the Americans have now lost 4 out of their 7 tanks, which is disastrous. And because the Germans still have all 3 of their Stugs, so they're evening up the odds there immensely. So maybe a counterattack will be in order. Now I'm just looking for burning wreck marker because that was a burning wreck, and as I speak I will clip its corners. So that's that. He could fire his machine gun armament as well in that same covering arc, but I believe that, okay, there you go, burning wreck, and I'll put a smoke there just to remind me that that's smoky, because the burning wreck marker doesn't make that so obvious to my eyes. Now this unit is actually in line sight, yeah, because there's sort of 1 hex, blind hex after the contour elevation change there. So he's within his machine gun. Okay, and he can fire at different hexes, so that's great. So he's got, oh no, the Stugs don't have any machine guns, M4s do. Okay, so that's that fire finished. Now I had 3 impulses, didn't I? So the Germans are tending to wait with opportunity fire because they don't want to expend their fire. They're waiting for the Americans to come out of cover and then they'll expend their fire. So we could fire on this unit hiding in the trees there, but they're going to hold back. And so what can we... Now there's this machine gun. It's taken casualties and it's in the smoke. That bunker's not going to last out much longer. But we've broken that squad there. So again, they're going to wait. with for opportunity fire. I think perhaps the only other thing would be, yes, this machine gun over here. I don't know if that's on the camera, but that machine gun's got another fire, so that can fire at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's at long range. So it's 4. Go to the casualty table. 4 strength fire. There in open ground, we've got brush in between. Is brush obstructing terrain? You can fire through it, but does it? Where's brush? You can hide in it. You can fire through. Yes, but it's 1 left. Okay, so I think that's 2 off. So that's going to be a bad odd shot, but we're gonna. So we won't do that. We'll fire against this bar gunner here instead. He's in the open. He's wounded. So that's going to be 4 points. He's not going to last much longer. So 7. That's a miss. Okay, so he survived that. That gun's finished. The third impulse the Germans will pass with. So we go over to the Americans, and they have 10 I rolled. So that's 5 impulses. I should probably record that with a chit somehow. 3 and 2 here. Okay. So the Americans have got this problem how to get forward without getting shot to bits. And I think we need to move here. So rally happens at the end. Both these squads are broken. We've got an M19 machine gun squad there, M19-7 there. So they're going to hazard. No, these ones are going to. These ones. Okay. This unit, this squad here, can go 1, 2, moving up. He's going to assault move 3, 4. Could probably have run, but I don't know, he might have been fired out from there. So he's moved, that's 1 impulse. We've got 7 movements if we just run, and these ones are coming up. 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, that's assault. They could go 7 and just run into clear because no one's. I know they could be fired at from there. I think they'd probably be alright, but then they'll be in the open, and there's a German. That should be on CFF. That's call for fire opportunity there. And these are the. Oh no, that is fire for effect. So if he could run through, that's artillery raining down at the moment, so he'll stay there. That's 1, 2, so 3 impulses left. I think time to bring up some of the guys back here. Now this guy's had to detail one of his squads to man the mortars because the crew got killed by off-board artillery. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they've moved up. With no, I don't. I do them separately. So that's 2 impulses because if I could move them as a platoon, but then one's going to have to stay out of cover, and if that artillery comes down on it, that wouldn't be nice. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 more impulse. Here. Okay, that squad's moving up there. Oh no, that's swamp. So there's a ravine moving through the swamp, so it's alright if he stays in the ravine, but really Yeah, that's all right. He's going to go there because he's a bit closer for when they move up. Okay, back to the Germans, 7, so they get 4 impulses. I couldn't fire on these because moving the ravine, they're completely in full cover. That's when they come out that they'll be exposed. You remember in, up front you have those ravine cars, that the ravines work just like that in the ATS. You can scramble along them. If I was above it and I was sort of facing down it, I could fire into it, or if I was adjacent but at an angle to it, and if someone's in it, there's no chance you can target them, except with indirect fire. Okay, so the Germans are just going to... No, what the Germans are going to do, they're going to start moving up some of their backstops. Because they're going to have to think about assault. Okay, so the Germans, what have they got? 4 impulses. So these ones are assault moving 1. All of these Germans are hiding, so there's no one there to fire on them. Except, no, they can't. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. They've gone into a house there. And... 1, 2, they'll move over there, and then one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so they're moving out in the open. They're not hidden anymore. Okay. Okay. So that's the German turn. Now, this is a bit more if you know, but this... Okay, so over to the American turn, 9, so they get 5 impulses again. Now this squad's just moving in the running move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I believe, into the shell holes there. Now there's nobody that can fire at him from there. These squads could fire from here, perhaps at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, they don't have the range. But these guys, since they're adjacent now, these guys could fire at them. Okay, this is where things get interesting. So I've got a unit here, and there's a bunker here on a higher elevation, and there's a squad in and a leader in a building there. Now in the bunker they automatically get full cover and they can fire out. And the position they are on the higher elevation is they can fire out down this way. So if this guy, say there's shell holes in this hex, if he wanted to move into them, he could be fired out as he moves up. Even though there's a smoke marker, they can still fire out. But, you know, their visibility is reduced. He could move across here. There's a handy ravine here leading up towards that bunker, but it's covered by both the bunker and the building. So if he moved here, he could be fired at down that ravine by the, or even there by the bunker. So you might think he wants to move sort of maybe to here. Well, what I'm trying to point out is that, okay, there's 2 things. One is that the bunker, they can fire out even though in full cover. Now, these guys in the building, they've gone into full cover because they were being attacked by this artillery. In fact, that artillery attack's still going on, isn't it? So they are in full cover, but they can only fire at adjacent hexes. So he could perhaps go there. The guys in the building can't shoot at him, but the machine gunners in the bunker can. But this is the one sort of nice thing, clever thing about the ATS tactical system. If he goes there, they're in a bunker. Now they have they're firing their machine gun out there, so they're stuck in the covered arc. Although they might not expend all their rate to fire on him, he's now taken their fire. So units on this side within the same segment, different impulses but same segment, can now move up, and that machine gun's restricted to that covered arc. So it's kind of like over there. So I think I'm going to move him there. He's going to draw fire so that these other guys can move up. But I just need to check first if they have enough movement to do so. Yeah, so that's what happens. He moves 1, 2, and he's going to get fired on. He's doing assault movement, so the bunker's going to fire at him. They're going to take the bait. Just because they don't want him there. No, actually, no, they're going to leave him. It's not going to work, because then he goes 1, 2, 3, 4. They can fire on him at a later turn, because he's not threatening right now. So he's finished his movement. Okay, so that was 1 American impulse. That changes things. So, we've got a squad here. He can move 1, 2 there, and then 3, 4, 5. So he has to move running movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and he's behind a hedge. So that's going to be nice. That's a squad with a leader and a light machine gun. But in this case, then the bunker's going to fire out at him. So they have, I think it's 8 points. No, 5 light machine gun plus the squad's got 4. They've taken some casualties, so that's 9 firepower factors. And they rolled a 9, so with the smoke and everything, that's probably going to be a complete mess. So they're on the 8 column, goes down to the 6 column because of the 1 column shift for smoke. That's it. So they missed. So they're there, nice and handily. That's 1, 2 American movements. Now I'm going to move the observer out of their hex into those shell hole cover. So that's 3. He's out of, no, he's in the covered arc, so he can also be fired at. They roll a 3. Oh dear, he shouldn't have moved. Yeah. That's a stupid move. There was no need for it to move. I'm leaving there. I shouldn't do that yet, but you can shoot like that when you're playing solo. And that probably doesn't help me, but I'm playing a bit off the cuff. I'm playing faster than I normally would because of the camera. I should probably turn the camera off and make a decision. Okay, this is interesting. So I moved a unit here. He actually ran because there's no fear from Germans over here. He ran, jumped into the ravine. Now, because the machine gun's cover arc is out this way, there's no problem about that. But these guys in full cover in the building can actually fire at him, which they will do. So I'll have to mark them as fired. But they can have another grenade attack in a close combat segment after, so they could get 2 attacks against him. So it's quite nasty being adjacent. Although they obviously can fire back in that close combat segment. They're on 4, 6. 6, and I rolled a 6. But they're running, so that's 2 right. Okay, So that's a C1. So they take some casualties, as they expected to, but and their morale roll is 5, plus 1 is 6, so that's a 6, so they're what's called pinned, I believe, in this game. But now see, I've run out of markers to show who's moved and fired. What do? So I should try and find some from another game or something. I'll just use these. And I've got tons of guys still to move or fire. Okay, so the Germans took another impulse, but chose to wait for opportunity fire. So it's back to the American impulse, and they get another 5 impulses, and they are a bit stymied. How to move up? They have got some movement up, so they'll be in good positions next turn. So 1, 2, 3. So they're going to move up. I started using these green blocks to mark moved units. So saving the other ones just for fired. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. These ones have moved, haven't they? And then have we got? We don't have a leader here, else we could do platoon movement. 1, 2, 3, 4. So they automatically go sort of down into the ravine. Okay, so these guys are just going to run. Okay, they'll be fine. They're not going to be fired on because the Germans are waiting for opportunity fire here. So I think I'm going to stop. Oh, I didn't film that.